was born in Inegbedion, Edo State, in 1972, in the month of July. He had his primary and secondary education in Lagos from 1979 to 1989. Thereafter, he gained admission into the then Bendel State University, now Ambrosali University, in 1990, where he studied accounting. And John graduated with a bachelor's degree with second-class upper division in 1985. Had his NYSC scheme at Takum in Taraba State. And of course, he served as a school teacher, thereby contributing his quota to nation building. His love for accounting, finance, and management were key factors that endeared him to study a master's degree in banking and finance at the University of Benin in the year 2005. Prior to his appointment as commissioner in 2009, a position that he currently holds to date, John had an exciting career in the banking industry, where he served in various capacities at Standard Trust Bank, now United Bank for Africa, Oceanic Bank International, now EcoBank, Bond Bank Limited, now Sky Bank PLC, and of course, Sky Bank PLC. He is a technocrat and a professional with vast experience in all facets of finance, from operations to marketing and sales, investor relations, team building, leadership, and business development in general. Added to the success achieved in the private sector, John has contributed immensely in the last 10 years to the development of Edo State and Nigeria. He is a member of the Commissioner of Finance Forum at national level and a frontline executive in resource management in Edo State. And as chairman of the Commissioner of Finance Forum, John was able to bring to national focus the infamous petroleum subsidy fraud, as he consistently queried the rationale for subsidy deductions, which rose at a geometric pace at a time without adequate control. This culminated to a major national discourse, which led to the formation of various committees by the government to investigate and re-engineer the process of subsidy payment. He is the longest-serving Commissioner of Finance in Edo State and maybe in the country, holding his position for 2 tenors, that is, during the first and second term of ex-Governor Comrade Adams Oshiomhole, while the third term is currently ongoing under Governor Godwin Obaseki. There is no gainsaying that his level-headedness, competence, integrity, and professionalism are major factors that have helped him to retain his position. Leveraging on his background as a chartered accountant and an astute banker, John has consistently ensured that the state finances are published. Is it financials or finances?
Financials.
Okay, that the state financials are published on a yearly basis, and in the last 3 years, Edo State has maintained the lead as the first state that publishes its financials, coming from the backdrop of a state that couldn't produce financial statements for 6 years, that is between the year 2002 and 2008. As an experienced commissioner and a core member of the current administration, John Osagi Inegbedion is a part of the various teams in the state that are pushing boundaries for economic prosperity. Some of the initiatives that are currently being implemented are the $500 million Benin River Port, the Benin Industrial Park, Edo Modular Refinery, etc., etc. He has exceptional entrepreneurial and interpersonal skills, which are shown in his day-to-day engagement with all and sundry. These are contributing factors that have enabled him to retain his position in government for the last 10 years. Of course, he resigned as Commissioner of Finance in January 2019 to contest the senatorial seat of Edo Central under the All Progressives Congress, APC. Was reappointed, of course, as the Commissioner for Infrastructure on August 7, 2019, a position he's still holding till date. John is happily married and is blessed with 4 lovely children. John, you're welcome to our program.
Thank you.
I enjoyed your CV. And you are the longest serving commissioner in Edo State, if not in Nigeria. How did you do it?
That's a very interesting question. Will I say how I did it? Or I'll put it as grace of God? Because no matter who we are, it is the grace of God. And I want to appreciate the leadership of the various persons I worked with who found areas where I was more competent to give me challenges to. And a lot of credit will always go to the current governor because he has actually been my supervisor for a long time. Starting from the inception of the previous administration in 2009, being the chairman of the economic team, and I, Commissioner for Finance, we needed to work together, and we worked together very well and pushed a lot of reforms, as well as achieved a lot of successes, in fact, so numerous. And that was the role we played from the background, and we built a teamwork. He was always our leader, and who led us right. And we achieved a lot.
So will you be able to give us an objective assessment of the Obaseki-led administration, despite the fact that you are working under him and also you have maintained a relationship over the years?
I've always been an independent person. A lot of people close to me will tell you, I do my own objective assessments of situation without missing words and not being patronizing. Governor Obaseki, who is our governor, I'll put it this way, Edo is fortunate to have him as a governor. I've been in government for a while now. Yes, this is my 11th year, going to the 12th, since 2009, January, so that's roughly 11 years, 7 months. So I've seen a lot. I've learned a lot as well. The business of governing is very serious. It entails a lot. There's the political part, but there's also the governance part. What are Nigerians craving for? Good governance. And by providence, Edo today have a governor who has the required skill, both from the private sector, as well as the reach, the contact, to drive economic development for Edo. That is what we have on our plate. And that is the opportunity before us. And that is what it is at stake at these elections. I don't want to go into politics yet, but I must make this very clear. We couldn't have asked for a better choice. I used to attend the National Economic Council with him in Abuja. That is where all the governors, with the vice president as chair, oversee the economic activities and policies of government, working in collaboration with states. At any time, any assignment will be done relating to finance, economy, even NMPC. As sincerely, the governor of Edo State is always made the chairman of such committees because of his depth knowledge of finance, investment banking, and the oil and gas. That vast and deep and rich knowledge is what he's using to govern Edo. For lack of time, if I start some of the things I know he's having in mind and that's being planned out for Edo, we can't just wait for them to come to fruition. So much talk about the refinery, the modular refinery.
We're actually coming to that. I wanted to ask you to, to give us in your own assessment, what you think are the most iconic projects of this administration?
That's why I said it depends on which area, because I had worked in finance and then I'm Commissioner for Infrastructure today. So I have a bit of a vast knowledge of how the government have worked. We just talked about, or I mentioned the modular refinery. I joined him to signing the agreement in China to bring that investment into Edo State. The company needed to set up a mobile refinery. We must all understand that anything having to do with crude is a national asset. So you will require some licensing and approvals of the NNPC. It was a joint venture with Edo State. But the Chinese were to bring the major funding, and we had to provide the land and the sum of 700 million, which is almost like $20 million. I mean, $2 million, sorry. The total investment was 10 million. That will represent about 20%, which is what the governor was saying. The refinery today is 95%, almost hitting 100%. Nobody ever believed it would happen. People didn't even see it coming because it's not the noise-making time. It's not the one that will drive there every 2 days to do inspection. Until Nigerians saw NNPC coming to do their final assessment. The opposition is making so much noise about it. For goodness sake, this was an investment attracted by the governor. And the chairman of the company setting it up in collaboration with the Chinese is actually from Edo State as well. Mr. Mike Osile. He is a long-standing friend of the governor. He didn't fall from the moon. These are what I call far-reaching investment because of its what? Reach, connection, and knowing what to do. Economic advancement is what we all crave for. Because that is what will help us get out of this quagmire. The unemployment rate in the country is so high. But that of Edo is the lowest within the South-South region. It is not a fluke. Someone is doing something right. We must acknowledge this. Politics aside, let's look for our best hands to get things done. The former governor knows him very well. If you listen to his earlier campaign, look at all he said about the governor. This is 4 years after. You can see that everything, he said without being a soothsayer, this one will be called the best. And it's true. We are yet to see what it will. It's just coming up. A lot is still to be uploaded.
So how would you assess the focus on basic education of the governor?
Oh, one other unique transformation area. I'm proud to say that I'm a product of a public school. I went to public primary school, public secondary school. And I had to also gain admission to the university, which was also a public school. That system is what has taken a lot of people out of poverty. However, over the years, the neglect by successive government has led to a real failure of the system. Talking about the infrastructure, the quality of teachers, the teaching materials, and people lost interest, such that even the downtrodden had to move their children to private schools, mushroom private school, because they were considered better than the public school. But to the glory of God, the transformation, it's not just about the physical structure. The content is what matters most. The quality of teaching. Today, we are not only having teaching, but also having learning. Our children are learning. You can see a primary one being able to speak good English, able to read and write.
Were you able to speak good English when you were in primary one?
Somehow I was fortunate. We had some quality teachers. Then,
at that time?
Yes, we had those Ghanaians. That was the era. We were the last batch of the fortunate ones, but as it were, things reversed and then it wasn't so good. But this government has come to make that transformation in the educational sector. To buttress this fact, Lagos State is, everybody calls Lagos the London of Nigeria. Lagos, which is the most populous state by my reckoning and the most advanced in terms of economy, has come to learn this process from Edo State. The governor is on tape, admitted that he came to learn it. And is replicating same in Lagos. A lot of states have come. I think the chairperson of SUBEB has more details. But the much I know, this is the right way to go. You don't play with education. Education is the bedrock of any society. So
in education, you're saying that that is basic education. You're saying that Edo State is setting the pace.
Edo State has set the pace, not just setting. Has set it. Others are catching up.
Okay. Now, what is the atmosphere like in Edo Central, where you hold sway? How are you working to ensure victory for your party?
Wow, that's interesting. Edo Central, as I would say, has vested interest in this election. The reason being, they have what we call ASA agenda. We have 3 territorial areas in the state. Fortunately, politically, since the creation of Edo State in 1991, Edo South have produced the governor twice. Edo North has also produced the governor once. So it's only natural that Edo Central also have a feel of producing the governor. So there is strong sentiment to have it. And it makes logical sense that you have a sitting governor who's from Edo South, who has done 4 years, and it's about rounding up. Let him complete his tenure, and good enough, he is a performing governor. More so, beyond the political interest, he has also shown them love. He has developed, he has executed a lot of projects across the 5 local governments in Edo Central. So naturally, Edo Central are rooting for the governor. 2, traditionally, they are also of the PDP extraction. They believe in the PDP. Because
of late Chief Anthony Anene.
Yes, he was a father that, stood as a pillar of support for his people. It's natural. You will always want to appreciate someone who has done you well. And Chief Anene did a lot in Edo Central by uplifting them politically as well.
We'll take a short break now. When we'll come back, we are going to take a look at the Kenwa Road dualization and, of course, the pockets of complaint that are coming from the residents of that area. Please stay with us.
Our MOU governor don't bring another Oyoyo project come. This time our correct governor, Godwin Nohegase Obaseki, don't join hand with other people when sabi work, and them don't bring Edo refinery come for our state. With the same MOU when Oyibo they call Memorandum of Understanding, Edo State government don't do Edo refinery reach 80%, and the project don't already they provide job for plenty of our people. With the same MOU when some people they talk say na audio project, Governor Obaseki don't complete Emotan Garden and him don't complete Oshiomhole Power. With Edo refinery and all the other projects and company when our governor don't bring correct job don't dey yafu for Edo State. Them not they call us civil service state again, as Edo don't turn one of the best states for Nigeria. If we want to make all this MOU wonder continue, make we use our voters cards take choose better thing when September 19 reach. Make we remember to turn print for the umbrella party. Make we vote for PDP. Make we vote for Godwin Obaseki and Philip Shaibu, so that them go continue to do better thing for Edo people.
You're welcome back to the program. Now, a lot of people say the Edo Central polls may be disrupted by violence. What do you say about this?
Violence, yes, it's a concern.
Okay.
It is. In fact, the way the election and the campaign has been, there are concerns about security and violence. Okay. We saw the tape where the lions and tigers were gathering. It only means one thing. They want to perpetrate violence. For me, Nigeria has moved past that era.
So it's not going to be a case of tit for tat, you're saying?
No. The governor we have, you can see him, he's a non-violent person. He has been in the corporate world. Those of us with that background, we don't see violence as a way of resolving issues. It's not a do or die. Let the people's vote count. If you have the support of the people, let them choose you. Don't manipulate it. However, we're encouraged by the assurance we're getting from the president by ensuring adequate deployment of security to ensure that there are no violence across the various local government and the polling units. If that occurs, the election will be considered free and fair. But we'll wait to see, because we have seen in several instances where the security personnel joining the rigging, they could get experience, and so many others. We don't want Edo to be, but a lot of persons are interested in this election because it's making a new statement in the Nigerian politics. we want to redefine politics. It is starting from Edo. The outcome of the Edo election will be far-reaching. Whether Nigeria can continue to have free and fair election, or what do we do? And I believe that the president is taking this serious and is giving it the adequate attention it deserves. The IG came in person. We saw former President Abdulsalam with the Speaker and Reverend Kuka. We are seeing well many Nigerians showing so much concern. We don't want violent elections anymore. At the end of the day, it's only one person that will govern. And so let the people choose. So Edo people, I want to encourage them to be out, because we can see presence of a lot of security personnel, both of the armies, police, and all, DSS and all that. With that number, I believe the lions and tigers will be kept in the cage and their padlocks well locked up.
Thank you very much. All right, so now let's talk about you being the Commissioner for Infrastructure in Edo State. What is the status of the road construction work across the state?
Well, we have quite a lot of projects going on. Some are at different stages. You see, one of the things, key thing of this government is that everything, there is a plan. We're not just doing things haphazardly or just as you feel. Some people call him wait and see. It's because when it is time to handle road project, I'll speak for infrastructure now, that ties to the plan, we go for it and we'll start it. You don't need to come and influence anybody in government for that project to be done. Now, we have some key projects. One of the things we try to also do is to link the states. We've done a lot in the major routes, major roads, but the intercity links are still very, very bad. And so we have to start fixing a lot of them. And then we gathered a lot of experience from our C4 program with the World Bank. We started that in the previous administration, where we could do short roads and streets, 1 kilometer, at very, very, what I'll call good costing, ranging between 45 to 50, 60 million in 1 kilometer, which is what most streets are, to link them up and also improve the urbanization of those areas. By the time we started, we got in some engineers, local engineers, who have over the years now gathered experience and are able to now execute these jobs effectively. Quite a number of them, nothing less than 100 of them, have gotten jobs. You can imagine having a job of 40, 50 million with 30% or 25% profit. We've created several millionaires, and they are all local boys. Young engineers in between their ages of 30 and 40, 45. What
about the quality of the job done?
That is where the thing has come. We do monitoring. For those that do poor jobs, we don't pay them. It will interest you to know that since we started under this administration, under the C4 proper, we've done 166 roads. The C4, the ones supported by the World Bank. However, gaining from that experience, we created our own C4 to continue the program, because it was a far cheaper way to construct road. And then you have local contractors, which we're also empowering. That in itself created some level of employment, as well as keeping the youth off. We had to now start supporting the program with our own funding. It's also interesting to know that that funding came from when the state finished paying the 25 billion naira infrastructural bond that was taken, which expired in 2017 when the governor had come into office. In order to just assume that we're still paying it, 500 million naira was being set aside to now fund the C4 Plus. And under the C4 Plus, we've done a total of 135 roads. So that's why the wait and see thing became a rage in town. You just wake up, your street is done. Yes, we've had a couple of challenges, but all those that did not meet the quality had to go back. And we've filtered out now, we have those ones within them, we even have the ones we call the Central Close and the Jonas Beggar, because they have acquired skills, they bought more machineries, and they're and delivering quality jobs.
Now, how do you tackle the rains?
Well, rains are always a problem for any construction. Whenever it rains, construction must slow down because you can't construct during the rains. Okay. The Benin particularly, which is the larger part of the state and the most populated with a lot of inhabitants, we have some challenges with rains. And that's why the second phase of the stormwater has commenced, which is from Adesuwa into Ugbo. The project is ongoing now. That will help to deflood the GRA and part of Sapele Road. I would at this point want to bring to our notice Boundary Road and Ihama Road. These are the two main artery roads of the GRA. When they go, in the past, they used to go bad every rainy season because they do not have drains. Virtually all the roads in the GRA, the old GRA, never had drains. Because then you had where you could discharge water to empty land and all that. But the whole place is built up now. And there's a low valley, so the water has no discharge point. So everywhere gets flooded. And when the roads are flooded, the tar will give away. That was why every year we were always making provision for fixing Ihama and Boundary Road. Because when they are not okay, you experience terrible traffic. But something happened the last year. The governor now called and said, we can't continue to always spend fixing these two roads. Yes, they are quite important. Pending when the stormwater and the primary drains will be done, for which you can discharge to, what can we do to fix them such that they can last more than 1 year, a season? And then we came up with a new design using what we call the toe beam. That was done last year, such that a toe beam is providing concrete on the side of the road and locking the tar in, such that water cannot penetrate. If you observe on Boundary Road and Ihama Road now, you would note that on the edges, there's a lock-up beam, which is, for the first time, it survived the rainy season of last year. It's also surviving the rainy season, no potholes, because the water could not penetrate. That has saved us the millions we spend fixing those roads every year. We have our star project roads that are ongoing. Before we went to break, you did mention the Ekema.
Yes, because there are a series of complaints from the people that are residents in that area. Okay. So we need to know what is really going on with that particular project. What is the status?
Fine. The project is ongoing.
Okay.
As we were hit by the COVID and the drop in oil prices, our revenues suffered. And so naturally, some projects had a bit of. But the rains are what has slowed down the construction there. We've been funding them, and that's why they've been concentrating more on the drains. It is a natural thing. You do the drains first, because that project in itself has a stormwater. In some areas on that road, we had to do 12-meter deep. There is a drain under 12 meters deep on that road that has been done. I think we had some videos of it and pictures, which you showed earlier. That is serious. Connecting to the first phase of the stormwater, with the one that comes from what they call this place. Trying to remember now.
Don't worry, to come back to you.
Okay. From a hill, connecting to the Oba River. So it passes through Ekema Road. And so we've connected it now. So, but the construction of the main road and then stabilizing the road before you see the asphalt, note, the road is also being dualized. So the dualization is starting from the King Square up to Ojimai Farms, dual carriage of 8 kilometers. Drains on both sides, linking to the primary drains. So it's the drainage that is ongoing and that has slowed down the pace. I just want to plead with them. This will be the last rainy season they'll be challenged. Before the next rainy season, that project, particularly the section of the dualization, would have been completed, and they'll have a brand new road for which they can enjoy.
Thank you. Now, as a key player, what do you make of the governor's strides in attracting investments to Edo State?
Well, that is his key strength. Yeah, it's a key strength for him. You must give it to him. Having played as a major player in the finance industry, as well as Edoian in the stock market, that is where capital is raised. He has the reach, he has the contact. So it's like taking a square peg and putting it in the square hole, because that's who he is. And then he has the people, and they trust him. Like they often say, the dollar is scared when there is no trust. No investor will place their money when they cannot trust the headship of a process that was going to take decision that may better the opportunity or mar the opportunity. And a lot of people trust him. We enjoy a lot of patronage from the World Bank today because of his person as well. And more are still coming. A lot of partnership, and I hear this talk about MOU. It's so sad. People don't understand what an MOU is. What are we clamoring for even in the country, even the federal government? You keep hearing PPP. PPP will always translate into an MOU. An MOU is documenting what we have both agreed to do. And we all need PPP to drive the economy now. Government alone cannot fund all the projects. But first, the private sector have more funding and access to funding more than the government. But they must have confidence for them to do their investment. And we are lucky we have a governor who has earned that level of trust and confidence from the private sector, such that they are willing to put in their investment in Edo State. We should maximize it and develop our state.
All right. We'll take a break now. When we'll come back, we are going to be taking a look at the measures that have been put in place to ensure that people come out to vote come Saturday 19th, 2020. Stay with us.
Where we are presently now is the Oshiomhole power plant. The power plant will generate about 55 megawatts. As you can see there, we have two twin buildings with chimney channels on their heads. That is where the engines, where the generators are located. And each have 9 generators or engines each. Right immediately in our front here, that is the gas plant. The generator will be operated using gas. By my left here, this is the valve pit, where the gas is being connected to the NNPC gas pipeline. Those are the three major components of the power plants. The names are, that is Nigeria Electricity Management Safety Agencies. They are presently on ground now to certify the power plants and the poles starting from Ologbo here up to Benin City. Presently now they are in the Benin City area. They are the final authority to give the go-ahead. The transformation will be massive, both small scale, medium scale, even large scale industries. They will now have easy raw materials, which is power. We are expecting nothing less than 250 qualified engineers, and some of them are already on the ground. We have people from Benin, we have people even from the Ologbo communities. The engineers, some of them are from Benin, some of them also are from other states. But majority of them are from Edo State here. Majority of them. So you can see that it is a very massive and important project in the economy of the state.
Yeah, welcome back to the program. We are still chatting with Honorable John Osagi Inegbedion. Now, I noticed the FCA, FCTI attached to your name. Please, could you tell us about FC and FCTI?
Well, that's, I'm a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Accountants of Nigeria,
Okay.
ICANN, and as well as the Chartered Institute of Taxation. I'm also a fellow. It's a professional body that I belong to. I belong to so many professional bodies. And being a fellow, those are attached to our names. Like you have a PhD will attach to a doctorate degree holder.
And I heard from the grapevine that you were, is it a best graduating student or something? Or what was that?
Yes. I was the best graduating student in my set when I was in school.
Which school was that?
I'm Obaseki University now, then Edo State University.
Congratulations. All right. So, in your opinion, what are the benefits of the Edo Modular Refinery and, of course, the Oshiomhole projects to the state, economically?
Huge. I'll start with that word. Huge.
Is it because you're in government, that's why you're saying that?
No. Because I'm a professional. And because I understand economics.
Okay.
More than anything else, why is everybody clamoring for it? The federal government isn't even interested. Nigeria is challenged today because we have crude and we're importing refined products. It's the most abnormal setting I've ever seen. It makes no economic sense.
Okay, you're talking about the modular refinery
Then I'm
now.
coming why it makes a lot of sense to have the modular refinery. And more to come. With our population, our energy need is huge.
Okay.
So that is why our foreign exchange is challenged. With our energy need, which we are not even able to get power to do a lot to build up our industries, it's affecting our economic development. Now, when you now have a modular refinery to refine products, first, you're creating employment. Two, you're conserving foreign exchange because the quantity that you have been importing, which that modular refinery or any refinery can generate, will be conserved, so CBN will no longer have to release that. More so, it is cheaper because your cost of importing, both insurance, freighting, and all that, bank charges, will be off. You cannot deal with it locally. And then you're helping your economy. It is always best to produce the things you can produce rather than importing. We're challenged as a country because our import bill is too high and we can't fund it. This is just one. We need several. And one of our major challenge economically as a country is import of refined products. Well, several reasons were attached. We never ran our refinery effectively. That's a different story. Now that has been privatized, you will see the full deregulation is on now. The private investment will move in. It's going to be a very good opportunity for the Niger Delta because we have the crude. We're going to have refineries coming up and then processing. And then most of this investment will go to areas where the investors feel safe. That is what you have in Edo. So you'll see more coming to Edo.
But we are hearing that the opposition is saying that there is nothing on ground. So why would you think that they have resorted to these lies and deceit, even when Edo people are seen to be enjoying some of these projects?
It is politics of the past. The government
Say it again.
I say they are living in the federal government is even struggling to have its own refinery run. We have 4 refineries in the country. They are not producing. The ones that are producing less than 10%. This is a clear case of a private initiative, just like Dangote is operating. NNPC goes there to also, because they are the regulatory body who gives certain approvals and licenses for you to do certain things, because it's a specialized area. That was what happened when the visit came to inspect the mechanical setting. And then they have to do inspection before they can give final approval for production to commence. The process, like I told you, started. We went with we had a meeting in China with the investors, signed the MOU with the investors in China. The state government complied with what it was stated in the MOU, and that was why it was done at that pace. More so, there's a silent part of that deal most people don't understand. Yeah, because I was involved.
Okay.
I was Commissioner for Finance. The investment of Edo State, the 700 million naira, was such that it is a redeemable, convertible preference share.
Could you break it down
I know.
for us?
Yes. That component has never been discussed. It's a unique way of having investment, securing your investment. For those in the finance world will understand when I say something is redeemable, convertible, and it's a preference share. In equity holding, the ordinary shareholder is the last to be settled. The stake is more higher. But a preference shareholder has a lower risk and has a fixed income when you have percentages attached to it.
Okay.
However, why we did it in that manner was such that should the transaction fail, we get paid like every other creditor and walk away. So that Edo State money does not go down the drain. That was why it was structured in that manner. So that when you are liquidating the asset, you get paid out. Because it's what is redeemable. And the same thing, when it becomes, it's thriving very well, and you just want to have a stronger stake, convertible, you can now make it ordinary shares and hold a stronger stake. So you could go back and you can go forward. All ensuring that was the engine, that is the brilliance of the government. You don't see that happening. I'm also going to tell you one very interesting one he also did on the Bini Abraka project. He has brought some innovations into financing of public projects that are so unique, and it's first of its kind too.
Tell us.
Yes. On the Bini Abraka project, a 105.6 kilometer road, which is the longest road project in the state, costing about 21.6 billion. For the first time, you are having 3 agencies of government. The federal, which in this case is NDDC, Edo State government, and Edo State government agency, Edo State, because it's cutting across 2 major oil producing local government. And it's a federal road. In most cases, everybody tries to ignore federal road. But because of the importance of that road to the economy and what we intend doing in that axis, because like I mentioned earlier, most of these things are part of an integrated plan. You do what you need to get to the next stage. And that's why, okay, we can't wait for the federal government to fix it. Let's do a collaboration. The federal government to do NDDC, 40%. Edo State government and its agency, 60%, 30-30. So 3 agencies. Now, it will not be overburdened on NDDC because some other agencies are sharing the load. It will not be overburdened on Edo State government because they're also sharing with. Also, it will not be an overburden on
the federal government.
the Edo State because. So with that, the thing was that, in fact, NDDC was so enthusiastic that if this work, they would replicate many of it with all the oil producing states, such that there will be stake. And the governors were looking forward to this. It's just that NDC had their own challenges through their forensic, and so they are unable to make their counterpart contribution to it. However, the state government and the agencies have made contribution, and the projects have started. Though the job had to slow down because of the NDC funding part. But they are desirous of doing it because they see it as what? All stakeholders having interest in the project. So that's community protection, that's so many advantages doing that. And the states now can now monitor costing of projects in their states.
So on the political side, how confident are you of victory?
The people who can see, they've seen the value of a governor who knows how to govern. He has touched lives. His mien speaks volume. Calm, cool, and collected. Brilliant, innovative, and he's touching lives. The people are yearning to reward him, for him to continue, because what is to come is even greater. And they now know, and they know better. So, I can tell you, without missing words as well, it will be a resounding victory.
So, what are the measures that you have put in place to ensure that the people actually come out to vote, against the atmosphere of fear that pervades the air?
The governor has made a lot of broadcasts and address, and even during the campaigns, assured them. And I believe the party, the PDP, is sensitized enough and reaching out to the voters, assuring them that it will be a peaceful election. And with the presence of security personnel that we can see, and what has happened in the last 24 hours, particularly the Peace Corps and all that, a lot of interest, both for international and local, is beginning to reassure the citizens that and voters that the election is not going to be as the opposition had planned, which was going to be violent. The violence will be tamed, and voters will come out and votes will count.
You seem to be very deeply involved in these campaigns.
I am.
So how confident are you that the people actually support and believe in the government?
Because I relate with them. I'm also a citizen. I'm also human. I have interaction. I see people on their own spending their money. People having private conversation telling me, tell him, we don't even know him, but we're happy with him. We can reach you, we may not be able to reach him. So many groups. It is more of a movement. It is one thing we keep forgetting about Edo people. They're very sad. This is a state where in a particular election, particularly every general election, they will vote in favor of one party. In the next election, 2 weeks after, they will do otherwise. They vote candidates. They vote personality. And this time around, same will happen.
Now, we have a generic question that we ask some of the guests that will bring on this program. We would like to ask you, what do you say to teachers and pensioners who have had a very good deal with the governor in the last 4 years as we prepare for this election? Teachers and pensioners.
Like I said, a lot of stakeholders are in this. Please.
No, but we decided to single out these two sets of people.
Yes, because they used to suffer. And we saw pensioners wearing black, being owed for several months. Today, as you are leaving the service, the next month you get your pension paid. You migrate immediately from payroll to the pension scheme, and you are paid. Life couldn't have been better. None of them would want that to stop. I want to encourage you, you and your family, your stake in this election is to continue that process. We are fortunate, like I said earlier, to have a government who pays priority to those kind of things. Because he's a financial expert. I do not see among all the other candidates anyone with his pedigree in finance and economic management. None. They can't be compared. None. I'm not being sarcastic, but being truthful here. And so we need more of people that can get the economy right. Because the challenge of Nigeria today is economy. And we are lucky to have one. We can't lose it. And we mustn't lose it.
So what is your last word for Edo people, the electorate, as the election approaches?
My Edo people, I want to thank you for being supportive of the governor. The elections is a few days away, September 19th. I want to encourage you to come out en masse. Go with your families, those that are for voting age, everyone you know that has PVC, to go out. There will be adequate security. The lions and tigers will not have a role in this election. For those that want to vote amongst them, they can go and do their voting, but they will not be able to carry out their planned violent act. Go and make your vote count. Your stake is high. We want Edo to move forward. We want to keep Godwin as governor of Edo State for another 4 years. So, collectively, let us all go out and vote. He is now with PDP. For those that are not so literate, umbrella in the local palace, Ehara. Thank you.
All right, we've been chatting with the Commissioner for Infrastructure, Honorable John Osagi Inegbedion, the longest serving commissioner in Edo State. Thank you so very much for coming on the program.
Thank you.
All right, we'd like to thank you for your comments, your encouragement, and of course for keeping us on our toes all the time. Thank you so very much. And like I have said before, elections will come and go. Please nurture your relationships and do not burn the bridges that you have built over the years. My name is Habiba Oyege Oyarekwa. Thank you for watching.
Hello, Edo, and welcome to the Snap and Send segment with the PDP Digital Media Team Live Studio. And I'm your host, Oluchi Adiela Nwosu. As the September 19 governorship election draws near, it is important that the good people of Edo State and Nigeria at large stay abreast with accurate information. The Snap and Send segment seeks to turn on the light on all activities in this electoral period. It is imperative that we collectively aspire and report incidents accurately, telling location of incident and using the hashtag Snap and Send. That is hashtag Oredo, hashtag Owonwest, hashtag Igweben, hashtag Snap and Send. Tag us on our Twitter handle at Snap and Send. Let's turn on the lights in Edo.